What's going, guys? Kyle from Ocean State Merchants back with another video for you guys today. So being a new content creator, I'm trying to come up with some ideas. I kind of have a path of the way I want to go with my channel and just like some of the things I want to do. I've been kind of just mimicking a lot of the stuff I see, but I kind of want to focus more on like my journey, really, like show you guys what's sold, show you guys what I'm picking up, but I want to talk about more like the financials and my goal. My goal is to officially, I think, not this year, but by the end of next year, be in the position to get a warehouse or some sort of space to create a business, an actual business where I can have part-time employees and I can separate everything out of here. My garage will be maybe for a car if I want it, or for my kids' crap. But I'd love to kind of get to that point. So it's more going to be on that journey, but I was looking for some ideas on videos. I've done a couple. I'm just like, I don't know, not really the best things in the world. So I went to my buddy ChatGPT, and we are going to cover some of the top things. They gave me 9 topics that people apparently are looking for, that content creators are talking about. So we're going to talk about them while we pull some orders here today. So eBay's been a little slow. It hasn't been the craziest sales for my personal stuff. My cards have been doing okay. My sports cards, I got a PSA order back, which is like a grading company for those of you that do care about cards. I got some really good grades. I got some nicer stuff, and those are trickling in. And because I listed some higher end stuff, I think that I'm getting some sales from higher end stuff as well. I do think that the eBay algorithm does matter if you're selling. I know that they say it doesn't, but if you have like, let's say 100 DVDs and you don't touch DVDs for like 3 months, and then you go back and you start listing like another 100 DVDs in like over a week, you see more DVD sales happen. I think that it does matter what category you're listing in. I think you kind of have to rotate your categories a little bit. That's my personal belief. I don't know what you guys think. You can drop comments down below and let me know. But the first thing that sold, I think it's, what do we got? We got 18 orders that need to ship. There's going to be a couple cards in there, so we'll call it maybe 15, because I did pack up most of the cards. There were a couple that sold overnight. So about 15 orders going out. It's been about 3 days now, so not the best work here. But the first thing we sold was this New Jersey plate. So you just got to make sure that they're 3 years. So you're looking for like a sticker, or you want to do research on the plate and see when the plate ended. This one, I think is a current plate, but I had a second plate that had the sticker on it, and I think it was from 1992, or at least that's what I have in my description there. So you got to at least wait 3 years. I'm pretty sure that's what it is. Double check it before you go listing, but I think 3 years after the plate's registration expired, you're allowed to list them. But you do want to make sure that it is in your title going there. With my lower eBay sales, I know that I need to increase I'm going to pack up these orders as I go along here. Hopefully you guys don't mind that. I did grab all my supplies because they're all across the garage, so I won't be running around like a madman. But license plates are pretty simple for me to pack. A couple little things there, and then we'll put one more in the middle here. So I just got a piece of cardboard. I folded it in half, cover the plate, and then I just throw it simply in a poly bag. Got one of my big ones here. Put it in, and just like that, it's in the bag. Fold it over a couple times, and we have a license plate packed up and ready to go. Get my pen out and write this so that when I go and weigh everything, I got it. But trying to get more listings done. So I've been like doing about 20 listings with sports cards and without, but I'm gonna really focus on 20 listings non-sports cards, and then I'm going to focus like 10 sports cards. Still want to keep that going. That is a good piece of what I do. So I want to make sure that that's happening. Next thing we sold was, I ended up sourcing this from the dump. So I got these 2 Adams Tight Lies. These are golf clubs. Adams is a decent brand to look out for. Not all Adams are gonna be great, but if you can get it for $1 or $2, I would probably pick up any Adams brand stuff. This one was at the dump. Someone left it outside, it's like a big pit you throw everything in. In my town, usually people, if it's nicer stuff, they'll leave it out so that you can grab it and essentially just take it if you want it. So pretty simple pack for the golf clubs. I just use, this box is, I don't think it does have the dimensions, 48 by 4 by 4. So this will cover like the smaller club faces. So like vintage clubs will fit easily in these boxes. If you get like a big modern driver, that's going to be a little bit more challenging. But golf clubs, I don't really do a whole lot here. Grab some paper. I used to bubble wrap everything. Like the amount of bubble wrap I went through was outrageous. I like to just use brown paper pretty much for all my packs now. And it can't be any more simple than, these are golf clubs. They, like, I used to wrap the heads. Maybe if I sold like, you know, a $100 club, $75 club, maybe I would wrap the grip and wrap the head cover. 2 clubs there are $21. I just put some padding in. And then obviously with length, lost my blade here. You want to cut down on the length as much as you can. So quick little snippets there. But I ended up selling these 2 clubs for $21.38. So from free to $21 is not too bad. I do charge $12 to ship these. So if they're going to go in a box like this, I'll do usually like $10. If I do driver sets, I'll do, or if it's like a driver, because that will probably go in a thicker box, I do $15 flat shipping. And then if you're buying a set off me, I do 20 bucks. So, and then I just exclude shipping to Hawaii and Alaska. I did have that happen once where someone bought a club for me in Hawaii. Then they tried to return it saying that they just didn't like it. I did not. So I think that I've not accepted 2 returns in my life. That was the second one we never accepted. But golf clubs, definitely something to be on the lookout. They're going to be hot right now. We are entering golf season. So if you have a lot, right now, that's one of my categories I'm super weak in. I do like golfing. I golf a lot. So it's definitely a category I like to have a lot of. But going into it this year, I don't have a lot. So I did sell a lot over the winter, which was a little weird. But going to be a little bit of a hurting category there for me. But super hot right now. If you guys have golf clubs, make sure that in your death pile, listen now. Now's the season they're going to start selling. Got a big hit here. So I sold this last night for $140. This is old vintage Nexus cologne. Yeah, Nexus spray cologne. $140 plus shipping. This person messaged me. This was a little... I'm not sure if they're drunk when they bought this. So they ended up messaging me and said, I love this scent. I need more. Then like 6 more. And I was like, okay, I didn't really say anything. It was midnight. I just turned over, went back to bed. A minute later, I got another message. Actually, I need 12 more. And then 50 minutes later, they messaged me again and said something along the lines of like just needing more of this. And if I have more, if I can get more, they would buy more. And then a minute later, they then messaged me and said, can you get me the address and phone number for this place in France so I can buy more? So I'll message this person back and say, hey, I'm glad I was able to get you the one, and good luck on your quest for finding more. I am not going to be messaging them before because I don't want to give them indication. I think that they may have maybe had a little bit too much fun the night before, and they were going to, they made maybe a drunk purchase, and maybe they don't remember. I don't know if that's taking advantage of. You know, I can't be guaranteed that that's what happened, but their texting was a little suspect, and their just infatuation with the cologne was maybe something that, you know, they were talking about. Someone told them that they smelled good. Maybe they had a really good date, and, you know, the person said they liked their cologne. I have no idea, but nonetheless, this will be going out. This is, I do have pre-made hazard labels for this, so you need to mark colognes as hazardous. It really doesn't affect you. So I think one thing that buyers or eBay people, eBay resellers kind of steer away from with cologne when they're shipping it is the fact that they think like a hazardous label might cost extra money. It doesn't. It's the same amount to ship it. You just need to find, you can just Google it. It was a simple Google. There is a label. It's like a black diamond, and it does have like arrows. Arrows are supposed to be pointing up and down like the way they should have the box. But it's a really easy pack. Nothing's different other than you print those labels. I printed like 20 of them. They just printed right on my Dymo. They fit on the box. I usually ship in the same box for all my colognes, perfumes, that kind of stuff. Just to make sure that everything is fine when I'm shipping there. But that was a really good sale, $140. Kind of a big bolo there. That was a huge buy too. I did think it was like $100 for like maybe, I think it was like $5 a cologne, so like 20 colognes. So I made a good amount of money on that. So happy with that. Next thing we have up is, I've scrolled my way down here. Sorry guys, give me 1 second. We got 2 patches. So I sold these 2 patches, and these I'll pack at a later point. But I don't really know anything about patches. If they didn't sell, I was just listing for $1.50. These 2 sold pretty quickly. 2 individual buyers. This is like a police for, I think it's the Air Force. Yeah, Air Force Security Police patch. And then this is just like an EMT vintage patch there. Sold for $1.50. They sold quick. So I'm sure I was underpriced. I didn't see any comps. I don't really want to keep patches. I'm not in the patch game. I am trying to get some of these lower things where like multi-quantities, and I am doing a bunch of different categories where patches, pins, outdoor flags, like stuff that has very lightweight. I'm trying to do like a buy one, get stuff free type deal. Obviously it's on the highest shipping, and then you can add to it. But I want my store to be kind of congealed together and have people being able to really shop my store and advertise shopping my store more than just like coming and buying something. I want every single category to have some sort of like banner under it that says like, shop this category as well and get free shipping or get discount shipping, you know, on top of my description saying it, my DVD descriptions, I put it in the description. So really trying to get people to network my store more or look at my store more to get more volume and sales. So that's the kind of stuff I'm listing that and typically I wouldn't. I just do big lots, but got a lot of quick listings. It got my store going. My store was dead until I got all those listings up, which I'm contributing with my cologne sale, which was my big sale. I did about just over $400 in sales yesterday, including sports cards. So definitely a big day for me there. All right, up next, we sold this polo. This is just a rugby polo here. Rugby polos, I guess, are pretty much in now, becoming a little bit more of a thing to look out for. So especially with the nicer weather, look at this kind of stuff. If you see any rugby polos, pick them up. I've done really well with Ireland gear. Ireland rugby, anything sells. I sold an Ireland jacket not too long ago, but I know people have been talking on YouTube about clothing and is it worth reselling or not. The simple answer to that, in my opinion, is if you have the right stuff, it's worth it. If you're someone like me that has a ton of clothing that stinks, as I said in a previous video, I'm trying to become more of a clothing bro. I am doing a little bit more research after the fact, going to thrift stores, buying as much as I can because some of the better thrift stores for clothing for me don't have good sell receptions. So going back using Terapeak, using Poshmark, using active sales, using sold sales, you know, trying to learn a little bit more, searching by styles, searching by brands, and just looking at like highest sold, and just gives you a good idea of what you're really looking for there. So I've been trying to use a lot of the eBay research tools a little bit more at my discretion. I think that's one thing that I've been lacking where I'm going in, I'm checking that item. So if let's say we're going to use this and just say this is a Ralph Lauren polo, right? In this case, it's not, it's a Halbro. I have no idea, Rugby Imports, but we'll use this as a polo shirt. You know, I would go in and look up polo, purple, whatever, large pony, and I would put like some keywords in there in medium and try to find like the exact comp and then try to list it for that comp. But obviously I need to do that for my listing. But afterwards, like looking at polo, just looking at polo branded polos, let's say, and then looking at what the top sales are, searching by top results, highest priced, go down. You can't just go off of one, you know, it might be A, a grail, or B, like kind of a false sale. But let's say you see the same kind of style of shirt selling for $100. It gives you an idea of something to look out for. So trying to do a little bit of research, trying to get a little bit better at what I'm doing, and get things cruising through that way. My iPad turned off on me. So next sale, we sold some DVDs. I'm starting to cross-list these a lot. So I do use a cross-listing service that allows me to easily import stuff over to like, I use Macari. I have eBay as my primary. Facebook Marketplace has been killing it for me today. I've actually had one Facebook Marketplace sale today for $10. I had another one that was going to be possibly a sale, but you could tell the guy when I have a rule where I don't really communicate with people that just keep on saying address, 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 because that means they didn't read the description. They know where it is. If they read anything, I have like a 4-line description. It's not very entailed. And most likely you're not going to make a deal. This person lived about almost an hour and a half away from me. I would say probably like an hour and 15 minutes away from me. And They wanted me to meet halfway, which also my listing states I don't do, especially with someone like this who had like a 3.5% star rating there. And some of the things where he was late. He didn't bring enough cash to make the buy. There was another one where he was just a no-show. So like, I am not driving 45 minutes one way to wait for you to possibly show up to maybe not have enough cash. Like, just not something I'm doing. But the cross listing has been great. I do pay $99 a month. I pay the top tier plan because I want my listings automatically coming off. And I would say right now for me, for someone that's been using this platform for about 2 months, I used an old one before and I had better luck with that, but it was also cheaper. So it was about half the price. This one is a little bit more. It's probably not worth it financially for me at the moment. But what's happening is this person bought a glass ashtray from me. And she asked me, oh, where'd you get it from? I told her, like, hey, I'm a reseller. I go out to yard sales. I'll buy cool stuff. And I do storage units. I think that came from a storage unit. I couldn't quite remember where that came from. It's like, but I do get a lot of that kind of stuff. I was like, oh, why do you collect glass? Yes, she does. She's telling me about some of the cool pieces she has. She asked me if I looked to see if it glows. It's not even looked to see if it glows. It could have. It was a nice, cool, like orange amber look. I don't think it would, but I've never really thought. I know that green glows in my head. I'm very naive with glass. So maybe something I should have looked at. But I networked with her a little bit. Now she's following my Facebook. She just followed me. I saw her on Facebook. You can see when people follow you. So I saw that she just followed me. So it's networking, it's building a supply chain for me, it's building people, not really a supply chain, but it's building buyer base for me in my local town, and it's a different buyer base. It's someone that's not using eBay. She's using Facebook to fund her collection. She's using yard selling to fund her collection. She's not going on eBay, she's not buying stuff from there. She's looking for a little bit cheaper, and she doesn't have to pay the shipping. That probably would have been, I don't know, eBay probably would have charged $7. So she saved $7 on a $10 item. If that's the kind of stuff she's looking at, like, it's perfect, it works out. She lives about 15 minutes away from me. So that's the kind of stuff I'm looking to do. So right now, I would say it's not profitable, but it's definitely going to get me to the right spot where as I get more and more stuff on there, I'm going to make more and more sales through those platforms. But I'm also going to have repeat buyers of people that are now following me because I have more going into it. I would say the time that you put into it really does matter. So if you're not going to put the effort, you have to treat it like eBay, right? You put your items on eBay. eBay is great because you can put everything on there, but I might put 20 items on eBay. 5 of them might be good for Poshmark. You know, I do kids' toys, clothing, that kind of stuff. But if I do 20 DVDs, Poshmark doesn't have a spot for DVDs. They don't want you selling DVDs on there. You could probably put it in like another category, but I don't know if it would sell. I don't know how good that would go. So that's not really the place to be selling DVDs. The shipping's gonna be a little bit more expensive probably, although if they're buying a lot, maybe not. But it's just not like a good place for that. So then you have to think like, how do I cross list more there? Because it's just an algorithm. It's the same thing as eBay. If you're not feeding the algorithm, putting more listings on there, you're not going to get the sales when you're cross listing. So you got to have the right inventory. You got to be listing, thinking about that. If you didn't do like 2 days of Poshmark, all right, I got to do some clothes today because on my eBay, I do it from eBay. I transfer to the service I use, and then I cross list from there. So just something to think about. It's been working for me financially. I'm not saying that I'm making money. I'm probably breaking even at this moment, but I know by the end of the summer, I'll be profitable and it will just snowball from there. So we talked about these DVDs. There's 5 of them. Disney, we got 3 Star Wars, 1, 2, and 3, Gremlins, and Toy Story 2. All 5 of those sold for $7.95. Went a little bit of a tangent with that one. Talking about the DVD selling. And DVDs, I just put in a bubble mailer. I keep it super simple, super quick, just all in. I haven't had too many issues with anyone complaining about, you know, a bubble mailer being an issue. But DVDs. And actually, I went on such a little side quest. I didn't pack my polo shirt. Once again, already pre-bagged. Couldn't be any easier. Just put it in another poly bag. I like to have the double bag. I think it looks a little bit better. Everything's already folded. I don't have to do anything. If it's a jacket, I have them hanging on like a clothing rack in my basement just because they take up too much space in here. My basement's used for like my big overflow, so a lot of my Facebook Marketplace stuff there is down there. That kind of stuff. My trash can is farther away. So kind of use that as that, but and then we got Polo. All right, up next, we sold this wrestling action figure. Nothing too crazy. He sold for $7.99. These guys do better, obviously. They are 80s. This guy's from 84, I think. So you can see a lot of paint transfer. If you get ones that are a little bit more clean, you're looking at more of like a $20 to $30 bill. So pretty good pickup. I bought a bunch that were in pretty bad condition. I could have done a lot better with that. But it was kind of a learning experience. I'm learning a little bit more about the toy market, wrestling figures. When I first did this buy, I posted it on Macari, and it was brutal. You know, I'm learning. I'm trying to figure out exactly what I'm doing. But I was like, oh, like, for some reason, I thought one of them said, like, 60s. I said, oh, like, I don't know, 60s wrestling figures. The comments destroyed me. People are laughing, like, oh, 60s. They didn't make action figures in the 60s, or at least wrestling action figures in the 60s. It's like, all right. Simple mistake, but yeah, definitely something I learned. I learned a lot about wrestling figures and kind of a little bit more what I'm looking for. I had bought modern ones, and I knew, like, the guys, I forget what you call them, but the guys that have, like, the stomachs that move are a little bit better. Women wrestlers do pretty well. So learned a little bit about the 90s and the 80s and just some of the stuff I should be looking for. I keep on knocking over that piece of paper. This one I'm not going to pack with you guys, but let me label this. I'm going to show you these three. So all three of these are game used bats, and they are autographed by someone. I have no idea. So you can see right here, it is signed, and this says something about the Royals. So, but this also says Riverport Royals. So 2005, I guess you could look up the Riverport Royals, whoever it was in 2005. Look at a roster, see if you can find someone there. Next bat, this one's signed. I had 3 bats, so I made a huge purchase. This is one of the first purchases I made. Game used bat cracked right there, but gives you like the model and the stock. This one has a lot less to go off from, but did a huge sports collection buy, and these are the last 3 game used bats I have listed. I probably have some more downstairs I haven't gotten to. And this thing is beat. So they were doing more than just hitting baseballs with this. It looks like someone's hitting a hammer. But it does have the autograph, pro model. And it has there. You got a lot of pine tar build up in there. It's pretty cool. And then your bat knob. I was selling those, I think, for $10 each plus the shipping. So someone came in and bought all 3. $10.39, and then the other 2 went on a separate order for $21.58. So got all 3 of those bats sold. I'll pack those afterwards because it is a little bit of a pack there. Up next, these are just Peter Millar shorts, and I'll probably put a picture of them up because you're not really going to be able to see them. Perfect pickup for right now. I got them about 3 weeks ago. A good golf brand. I'm sure that's what they're being used for. So for $19.99. Got these at the thrift store that I can't comp at, so I don't know if I made a ton of money on the profit, but it's just one of those things where I'm learning how much they go for, and it was just a good buy for an experience for me. eBay reselling is definitely a growing market. I think you are going to see a lot of growth over the next couple of years, especially with these AI tools getting introduced. I'm not quite ready to get there. I don't have a big enough area to house like hundreds of things. Like I have the comic books. I keep on thinking to myself like, oh, it'd be so cool to use an AI listing software where I could do those comic books and really smash it out and get it out. And it would be great for that. And I do have the ability to, I do know people where I could probably go get comic books again and be all set. But like, I don't have the network for those big bulk buys. I want to continue to grow that network. I want to get there, but I'm not there yet. So I'm going to keep on staying kind of in my lane. Maybe by the end of the year, I'll look at one of those services and really like try to get that up and running. But I definitely am not quite at that stage yet. So a little bit of ways to go there. So these 2 WWE figures. This is Mosh and Thrasher. They're a little loose. So their arms are loose. That was in the description. Legs are loose. Probably pictured. Yeah, they were both pictured laying down. So not the fastest moving item there. Both of them sold together for $6.64. They were on a 20% off discount there. So a little bit cheaper. And as I've said before, the action figures are just something I kind of need to get rid of. I have a bunch of loose ones that were doing well. People were lotting them up, but now I think it's been 4 or 5 sales now. I've said the same thing, where it's time to get them lotted because people just simply are not buying big lots anymore. They're just coming in and getting like 1 or 2 guys, which is great. But if they're not doing those, I pretty much charge the shipping that it is, even sometimes a little bit lower, like, 10 cents lower. But I'm not making money on these guys. I'll make like on this one, because there's two and it's at $6, I'll make, I don't know, we'll say $4. But generally I'm averaging like $1, maybe $2 on them. So just not worth it if they're being bought individually. So it's time to lot everyone up. I did list a couple more of them and it hasn't really increased it. I had like 10 or 15 extra like guys that needed to be listed, but just hasn't really increased that yet. So all right, up next, we sold the Office Space. So this is what I would consider kind of like a boring item, something that not everyone's looking for. When you go to the bins, there's like one, maybe two people digging through the DVD bins. You don't have like 100 people like digging through. When that new bin comes out, people are flying through it. They're ripping everything apart, hoping for the best. The media bins just don't get the same love. A little bit more of a boring category, but I've been having good success. I sold an X-Files complete set. I think it was like seasons 1 through 10. There might be 11 seasons. I can't remember exactly what it was, but sold that for like $260. This was the Office Space pre-owned. It sold for $10. So not a bad flip, something to look out for. I've been getting really into the DVDs. I got a lot to learn, but I have a good parameter of like what I can buy and what I should be paying for per DVD in order to have a chance to like make a little bit of money. But with the eBay fees, some of my DVDs are $1.49. After fees, everything like that, I do charge a little bit for shipping. If I only sell one, I'm netting like $1, which for DVD probably isn't a bad price. It's just not really, the game I want to play in. So it's been a little bit slower with that kind of stuff, but sometimes those boring items, those tools, stuff that like, and when I say tools, I mean like, the everyday tools, the drill, that kind of stuff, where people are just like, there's so much of it. The competition is good on eBay. You might not sell it right away, but it will sell and you'll make money. I'm game for those. I think that is a good portion of business and something that has been helping me. This vintage razor sold. So this is a vintage safety razor. Gillette does very well with this brand. I don't know. This is not branded. It's heavy. The person messaged me and they're like kind of joking about like the amazing things people collect. And I was like, hey, I've seen crazier than razor blades, but they mentioned something about it looks like a good 5C brand, whatever. It's got good weight. I'm like, it looks heavy to me. For a razor blade, it's heavy to me, but I don't know anything about it. But when you see some of these collections, it might be something you don't necessarily look at or think of. But when you see it all put together and someone displays it properly, some of them are just pretty impressive. It's a lot of fun to kind of go and see. But razor blade. All right, we got two more items left. And I passed them because I was trying to go to something else and got distracted and must have gone by it. So the first one that sold is the Aristocats. I believe this sold for $2.99. Sold for $2.99. This is the kind of thing that I'm talking about with the DVDs. So I'll make $1.50, $2 because it's a Blu-ray and I charge $2.99 for any of my used Blu-rays. So Aristocats seems like an okay DVD though. I sold in a Disney lot, I sold the base DVD model. I mean, it's $1.49, but at least it's selling. And then sold the Blu-ray, so it's probably one of those things that's just not on any sort of platform. It's not on Disney Plus. Last thing we are going to be packing is this Weird Western. So Weird Western, this is a 20-cent comic from DC, number 17. This sold for $7.99. So any comic book below $15, I have these eBay pad things. I have a basic store, so they give me $25 to spend on the eBay store each month, and a lot of times I'll buy this because this is just under $25. These I used to buy. These are eBay branded little like paper envelopes, and I just take the boarded side, put it down so that the board's kind of protecting the back. It's not thin or it's not thick, so it's definitely not going to help all that much, but it does a little bit. Put the brown comic book or the comic book face on the brown board, and then just seal it up, and it's good. Generally, I'll put a small piece of paper on here. Put a small layer there, and then bam, that one is done as well. That is everything that we sold over the weekend. Now, this video was going through what ChatGPT said. You guys should have seen the pop-ups there of, what ChatGPT, the 9 most exciting things. And then I did, what do people click on the most as a separate thing? So number 1, what sold? We went over that. We hit that one there. thrift haul. I didn't have a thrift haul. I showed you my golf club, so I'm counting that. We hit number 2. What items are selling right now? I showed you everything that I just sold. So those are selling this minute. Everything that just sold. Pack orders with me. We did that. I threw a piece of paper away that I didn't read the very bottom. Is eBay reselling still worth it? I don't know if I covered that, but with any luck, it still is, because that's my full-time job and how I support my family and my kids. And high profit flips. I sold that cologne for a lot of money. It was a high profit flip. So I think I covered all my baselines. This should be the most interesting reselling video on the internet right now. I say this sarcastically, joking, I know. But if you guys do want to follow me on my journey to hopefully getting into a actual business and turning this into more than me just being in my garage in the next couple of years, give me a follow, drop a comment, like the video. Greatly helps me out. See you guys next time.